Cover Junkies to Cover Decoder, the show where we whine you. We dine you.
Ooh.
Any restaurant,
Of course.
pick one. And then
It has to have a good cover.
we take you to the ice cream sundae place. And we're going to sprinkle on the various covers and to make the perfect cover sundae. I'm Brengineer. And with me, we have our fellow knights of coverdom, Inks, and the Tape Finder General.
That's right.
Before we begin, remember, you can follow along with today's covers at coverdecoder.com.
Follow us.
So how's it going, fellas?
Oh, man. After that big, meaty steak and potatoes intro, I'm ready to talk about some dead people.
Getting the ice cream with all the sprinkles so she knows how important she is to you. I get the sprinkles for you, baby. I get you all
the confetti cake.
On your cover Sunday.
Ooh.
What are you sprinkling on top?
Explosions. I like to sprinkle explosions, some nudity, maybe some junk, and a chainsaw.
Damn.
Put that on my cover Sunday.
The Tapian Sunday.
So you like a pulp Sunday?
I like a bloody pulp Sunday.
I'm gonna go with lots of colors to catch your eye, draw you in. Maybe some textures. Maybe some sort of critter sculpted out of the ice cream with that you've never seen before to intrigue you, and then you can slay the sundae, if you will, with your mouth.
So you're like a country wilderness hut. You know, like where they have the plaques that tell you about the area. Come on in and check out the ink special here. It's got wood carvings.
Banana beast split. Yeah.
The banana beast.
What about you?
There we go.
What about you, Mansion Dweller? What's on your
What's
Sunday?
the Brengineerian Sunday?
Well, first I begin with a pistachio ice cream. A creme. Pistachio ice creme. And then I put a spooky mansion on the pinnacle of the peak of the pistachio ice cream. And then I have a crusty old man peering out from over my sundae. Maybe his face leering out from a moon.
Get off my ice cream lawn, you damn kids.
Indeed. And then some sort of spooky font rising up from the pistachio graveyard.
I love our cover ice cream.
I know.
It's delicious.
You didn't know that was going to happen, did
We've
you?
got Explosion,
I was not expecting.
The Explosion Split. You've got the Summer Camp Sunday.
And
then you've got the Manor Massacre.
The Misty Pistachio.
I gotta say, I like my pistachio.
Folks, it's definitely an ice cream sort of episode because once again we are talking about people who have passed on.
We're pouring out.
And there's nothing like a frozen treat to eat while
This is a frozen treat episode. It's a bonus episode.
Everyone copes with coffins differently. We do it with ice cream.
That's right. You just lick that ice cream cone into a phallus shape, and we're going to talk about some dead people.
I'd be so sad about Grampy if it wasn't for this It's a Kadoozy.
Yeah. Grampy just loved his butter pecan.
It's got so many colors. Oh, but yes, folks, we are here in all seriousness. We're going to open up our vintage 1995 Bartles and James and pour some out on the ground for some heroes.
That's right.
Not all of these people we're talking about are necessarily artists, but they are people who are in some great material that have great covers. And we're just going to talk about them, talk a little bit about their lives, and share some of the covers that they were involved in or created.
That's right. And I'm going to jump in first to topple my sundae upon the grave and say, I appreciate you. I pour out my ice cream, my summer camp sundae for you, Charlie Daniels.
You picked the perfect band for your Sunday there, Inks.
That's right. Charlie Daniels is important to me. And if you will, so I've got the first slide up here so you can see.
Look at that logo.
Josh, what is it with you and these guys?
I'm telling you.
Look at this guy.
Look at this country western Santa Claus that we don't deserve.
His logo looks like it is branded on a cattle's ass.
That logo looks like it could be
because it probably
whiskey.
was.
It looks like it could be on a sack of flour. It looks like it could be on a Southern rock album, and it
or a
is.
horse's ass.
Inks, this looks like you when you're older with a beard.
Dude, I can't wait to get to squeeze into that leather. You know, I'm working on that Santa Claus
what is
body.
this cover? What am I looking at?
What's with the Civil War? What's with the Civil War hat here? Okay.
He has a sleigh full of steers that he rides in the hot Christmas nights to deliver whiskey to all the Southern babies. No, in seriousness, this is Charlie Daniels. He is a legendary fiddler, guitar player, bass player, and he started out in Nashville as a studio musician, playing all of those instruments. But he played on, you just got to look it up, folks, so many albums that you probably don't know about. And then he went solo. And
I can guarantee you we don't know about them.
I cannot go through his whole discography. So I landed, this first album I landed on, to show you guys, it's called Million Mile Reflections. The reason why.
This is the pinnacle of country looking cover right here. Dude, look at the guy on the far right hand side who's just got his thumbs in his pockets, leaning over like he's about to plank.
The bass color is coming. It started
now,
coming.
Can I just real quick? I'm sorry to interrupt, but I gotta throw this down there.
Why are there stadium chairs?
Just wait. So here we got what looks like a plane, like maybe out in Texas or somewhere, and slowly the plane they're standing in the middle of a road, and then the plane is slowly becoming stadium chairs, except that this road is sort of ghostly looking, and the edge of the road looks like is coming out of one of these dudes' U-Haws, and effectively he looks like he's taking a big old piss.
That's right.
Absolutely. This looks like you just sprayed this with a paint brush called Goodwill.
These are.
And he's leaning forward a little bit, folks. Composition is important. Composition is important. Watch where your little lines are leading from.
The composition of this is right in the fucking center of the thing. Hey, you know what? Let's put it right. You know what? Who this is though? This is a Bobby Coffin.
Well,
this is definitely a Bobby Coffin.
Folks, we're gonna go ahead and describe what this is. They've described it as a road stadium, and then the band is right in the middle, and they're almost fading away like the ghosts of country past. And their hair is all waved to one side, being caught by the wind going across the West Texas desert. And the cool thing about Charlie Daniels is I noticed this on a lot of his albums is he includes his entire crew. He's got his whole band up there, and he probably appreciates, all of his band members because he was a studio musician.
That's
but
right.
I brought this cover up here because it contains, this album has on it Devil Went Down to Georgia.
Down to Georgia.
And if you don't know this song, then you're wrong, and I'm going to tell you something for real. That is a famous song. That song he was a little bit on the map before then, but if you didn't know Charlie Daniels' name, you'll know it now because of Devil Went Down to Georgia.
Even I knew that song.
Yeah, that song was super hard to play on Guitar Hero. Like, really hard.
Oh, boy. I tell you what, he was not a fan of that rendition. He said that the devil was winning in that one. But,
that sounds kind of cool.
Sometimes you put things out in the world. Yeah, exactly. That sounds... He said a metal thing without meaning to be metal.
I know. Sounds like the devil's winning in this version.
Well, if you click to the next slide...
Do we know, real quick, Inks, do we know who painted this with the Goodwill brush?
Oh, yes. And I'm going to tell you.
Oh, so the next one is the same person. Ooh, I like this.
Same artist. I like this. Very, very cool.
Dude, these guys are summoning Nestor Huggins from the grave.
Exactly. Why don't you tell me about this cover, sir?
So what we have here, again, it's still painted with the same cummy Goodwill brush, but what they're dipping in there is blue. And they did something that I love, which is everything has blue shading on it. You still got it's not quite as Bobby Coffinish because they're spaced out a little more, but you still have either cowboy hats or flowing locks. You have this bright glowing moon on what I can only assume is the Texas Bayou, which is a thing.
This is a
no,
swamp.
This is not.
The Texas swamp.
This is in Texas.
This is swamp. This is Texas.
This is Louisiana.
Well, okay, so next to Louisiana is a place called Texas, and I lived in the swamp. A lot of times when I tell people I'm from Texas, they think of rolling deserts and cactus. That was not my world.
You were in
my world was
Texas.
gators. My world was skeeters. My world was sweat, and that's why this album contains a song that has spoken to me, and it is called "The Legend of the Woolly Swamp," and it is an awesome song. The thing about Charlie Daniels is he's a storyteller in his music, and he always he has these songs that kind of like take you on a little story, a little journey, talk about a character. They're almost folklore.
Those are the best songs.
Yes,
it's true.
And he tells about Lucius Clay out in the woolly swamp. And I'm telling you, folks, you got to go listen to that. If Devin Went Down to Georgia is the only thing you know, he has many songs, but a lot of them have that southern rock, that hard driving storytelling style, and of course, lots of fiddle, as you can see here in the cover, in the glow of the bayou. Wherever this bayou's at,
and you know they're all ghosts because none of them have sweat stains, and they're wearing
none of them have sweat stains.
Jeans and jackets.
There's not a sweat stain to be seen. Not a sweaty bead.
I'm not gonna lie. I know I would hate going to a real swamp, but I kind of want to just jump in there and hang out with these guys and do their summoning ritual.
Now, I'm sure you'll talk about the artist here shortly, but I just gotta say, recently I've been doing, I like to challenge myself, so I've been working on a lot of pictures with water.
Water.
Yes, you have.
Water.
I have a lot of different images going on. I gotta say, the artist here has done a bang-up job of getting that moonlight reflecting in the water.
Yeah, and it's not
then
just... I'm sorry, it's not just the white light either. If you look behind Charlie, there's some green too. I mean, water isn't blue. It's mostly green, and if you're where I'm from, it's mostly brown. If it's brown, drink it down. If it's black, send it back.
It's the color of my pants after a wild night. You know what else I really like about this? I don't know if the artist was in charge of this, but the composition of this is way better than the last one because for me, the lettering is awesome. I love how it's that bright yellow, but it's tiny. It doesn't take up the picture. Yeah. It's just at the very top.
It's Quentin Tarantino font.
It is.
Think Pulp Fiction, yellow. It's Soul Patch Piss yellow.
Soul Patch Piss.
It's hovering. It's hovering above the Bayou Boys.
Hey guys, I just realized our next thing needs to be a cover decoder color palette. Yeah, we need to make our own colors.
That's right. Yeah. You can get our brushes on. Just look for the Cummy package at the brush store on whatever platform you're using.
I've got to say, listeners, new listeners, you've got to forgive us. We've pretty much peppered this whole thing so far with our backlog of jokes built up from the very beginning.
We will not apologize. So you have to go back and listen.
If you're curious about what cummy means,
go ahead and explain.
And the piss yellow soul patch, well, you're just gonna have to go back through.
Oh, okay.
And learn.
Teaser.
And study up.
Yeah. You have to go back in time.
Before I go into the next artist, I'll say again that Legend of Woolly Swamp song. I remember hearing it as a kid, and I lived near a place called Bailey's Prairie, and there was a legend of Britt Bailey, who had come out of his grave and walk around carrying a lantern looking for his lost bottle of whiskey.
See, this is why the South is so cool, because it doesn't matter where you live. You could live, I don't know, anywhere, and they would have a legend about, old Bill Miner. He used to collect the Sunday newspaper, but now he's a ghost.
Yeah, there's plenty of people saying that they have seen this ghost light out of Bailey's Prairie. No one really knows what it is, but they see this light kind of bobbing around, almost looks like someone carrying a lantern. And I remember, one of my friend's dad saying that he chased it one night, and it would disappear and reappear in another spot, and it would shake as if it was laughing.
Yes, an old dad tale.
There's so many old dad tales about Bailey's Prairie, close to Angleton in Brazoria County, Texas. And so hearing that song, it makes me think back on those legends back there in the sweaty places just out down
so these
the road.
covers take you back. These are childhood for you.
This is almost a comfort cover episode for me. Now the next slide.
Oh yeah, this album!
Look at those
Yes!
faces. Look how white.
Yeah,
Willie's smile is.
So what we got now is not a Charlie Daniels. It is a Waylon and Willie. And the reason why I have Waylon and Willie up is because the artist who did these illustrations is called Bill K. Myers. And the only reason why I know his name is because on allmusic.com he is credited as the illustrator for these albums, and then you click on his name and it gives you some more albums that he illustrated. And I could not find a website for him. I found another Bill Myers who was down in Nashville, but the style was very different, and his name was J. William Myers. So I can't find a website or information on a Bill K. Myers, but I did find several albums that had that same illustrated style that looks like it he had the cummy brush out, he had the color pencils out, and it's all country western stars. And I landed on Waylon and Willie.
Take back the weed, take back the cocaine, baby.
That's right.
Oh,
Mama,
man, this cover is
let
great.
your babies grow up to be cowboys.
Boys.
So we'll talk about Waylon and Willie and all those guys someday, but I just wanted to bring up the mystery of Bill K. Myers. And if you could help us out with that, that would be great. If anybody knows how to find more on Bill K. Myers, all I can find is some links to him on AllMusic and Discogs as him doing the illustrations for those last two albums that I spoke about, and a number of country western albums. And again, they're all photorealistic, color penciled, eroded drawings of these legends in the sky. And
is that what? Sorry. For some reason, I missed that. Is this color pencil?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, all right. So you couldn't.
I'm pretty sure that he's using paint.
I'm just gonna zoom right on in here and see if I can tell.
Well, I'm calling it colored pencil just to give you an idea of the texture, but I'm pretty sure he's using acrylics. Or
that's definitely painted for sure, but it definitely has that kind of faded color pencil.
Yeah, you know
look.
what I'm talking about? Like, you're not getting a crisp line every time. And again, he doesn't like to finish hair tips. For some reason, the hair just blends in through the wind.
Feathers off,
I could never figure out how to end the hair, so I just turned it into the wind.
Now, I've got a question here for Tapes.
Oh.
Who does he does a little bit of leather working.
Ooh,
and
right.
on this image where Waylon and Willie are deciding which one's Jesus, we've got it's in this classy punched leather frame. Now Tapes,
God.
your opinion, was this is this an image of some leather, or do you think this was painted, or it's looking pretty like real leather work to me? But
no, that is a great question. And this is absolutely leather work. Actually, if you look too, you can see almost the glare on the bottom right hand side, probably where there was light. So the question, I think Brandon, I think you're absolutely right, Brengineer. My question is if the logo. So by the way, can we just say that the logo here absolutely looks like a hip hop logo?
Oh, absolutely. I was about to say.
The Waylon and Willie?
Dude, yes, with the fade and like the lines. I don't think that you can definitely get that with leather tooling, with paints and whatnot, but it looks, I'd have to see it.
No, for me, you can actually see
Waylon and Willie out on the prairie. Waylon and Willie gonna drink up all your dairy.
Yeah. Yeah, I smoke my weed and I do it right, and I'm hanging with my boy Waylon all night. Yeah. And we can't wait for the Willie Nelson rap album. That's got to come out.
No, we can't. It's going to be great.
Yep. I've got to believe that this is an overlay of the leather work, because you can see where the letters cut off some of the. They're not like embedded into the design. They just lay over the design.
Yeah, it's kind of just floating there.
So speaking of leather work, I want to click to my last slide.
Ooh.
This is the album that I remember from my childhood. This is the album. It is a compilation. It's the Charlie Daniels Band, A Decade of Hits. It's got Devin Went Down to Georgia. It's got Easy Rider, where he talks about being a long-haired hippie cowboy and almost getting in a fight and talking his way out of it. It's got Legend of Woolly Swamp. It's got all of the greats.
This is all you need right here. And you can find it at your local Goodwill or Red, White, and Blue for $2. Guaranteed.
And you can buy several and make yourself a necklace out of it. But I just remember this album always stood out to me because it's leather work. And I don't know who the leather artist is, but if you zoom way in, you can almost make out his name, and I can't quite get it. But I always wondered who did the lettering for this album and his logo that was the first slide, if you remember. And doing a quick search, I landed on Gerard Huerta. And I'm telling you guys, we're going to have to dive into this guy eventually. But
is this him right here?
This is him right here.
His teeth are almost as white as Willie.
Dude, he is.
Look at those pearls.
He is a mob boss of typography because he has done some of the great band logos, some of the great band lettering. He worked for CBS Records, designing album covers, doing letter forms and logos, and he did Boston. If you can remember, if you can think of that,
that's a great logo.
That's a great logo.
Yeah, you can see it. You can totally see that.
Blue Oyster Cult.
Yeah,
the Isley Brothers,
wow,
George Benson, and eventually AC/DC's High Voltage.
So we're back to Type Decoder.
We're back to Type Decoder because these logos are important and they go on many of the covers. But
now I've had. Can we just talk about how difficult logos are?
They are
to make.
Yes,
it makes sense that you have a guy who does strictly logos in design, because I tell you what, I've been hired to do logos. It's not fun.
Yeah, it's
unless you know exactly what you're doing.
Inks, you do a lot of logos, so I do a lot.
And I find that I spend just as much time doing a logo as I do a painting. But whereas a painting, you're building something up. A logo, you're stripping stuff down. A logo is like mining. You start with these big concepts, and then you have to strip them down to a nice, clean, define something that you can see. Enjoy in a very short amount of time and understand the information. So yeah, it's a different kind of process. Like I said, other artwork, you're layering things and you're building something up. Logos are all about stripping stuff down and trying to get the essence of what you're trying to convey. And he does a good job. And like I said, I'm going to link to him. You guys can check out his website. We will be back for you, Gerard. But I can't spend a whole lot of time on him right now because
we're coming back for those great whites.
Yeah, we need to continue our journey down the ice cream buffet as we're layering on too many cookie bits, too many gummy worms, too many.
I am getting tummy ache.
Strawberries. We got to keep layering it on, but I'm gonna just leave you with this last slide here.
What am I looking at?
Of this powerful country star beacon supporting the troops. They've got him up on some milk crates here. He's in full camo outfit. They squeezed him into a jacket of some sort, and he's never looked tougher. And
hey, let's put a hat on him. Let's put a hat on Charlie Daniels.
They clearly want him dead because he's out in the desert wearing forest camo.
That's right.
Okay. This is a sniper's delight.
Operation Charlie Daniels Distraction Go.
Yeah, he's just following in Waylon and Willie's footsteps, trying to be Jesus out here in Iraq.
So this is how Charlie Daniels died. He was used as cannon fodder.
He actually had a hemorrhagic stroke. He died hard. He went out hard.
Hey, you know what? You play the fiddle hard, you die hard.
You die hard. He lived hard. He died hard. He did a lot for country music, and he was in the background, and then when he was in the foreground, he did a lot of volunteer work, and he's just all around good dude and a big part of my childhood. I just remember that album, and there was actually a song on there. It's called Easy Rider, where he talked about kicking a guy in the teeth who had green teeth, and I used to ask in my little my baby Ink's voice, my dad to play me some Green Teeth, because I didn't know the name of the album. So, Charlie Daniels,
there you go. Green Teeth.
I salute you. I pour it out for you, sir.
Yes, Bartles and James on the floor. Oh, that's wonderful. Thanks for taking us into your childhood once again, Inks, for picking off those country layers.
Pour out some comfort cover for you guys.
That's right. Rest in peace, Charlie Daniels. All right, I believe we have tasted a little bit of the country cupcake, and it is time to try the pistachio mist, which also sounds like a horrendous sex act. I don't want to know.
Hey, baby, do you want to try pistachio mist tonight?
Yeah.
It may or may not involve some gastrointestinal phenomena.
Friday night of tangs is pistachio mist night.
All right.
If it ain't green.
So, on tonight's little ice cream sundae, I've got a guy named Jim Holloway.
Jim Holloway.
Jim Holloway.
Boy.
Now
he looks like a shoe bomber.
So
sorry, Jim.
I lost my pop filter.
All right.
Oh, God. He's so serious.
Right. He looks so mad about his rights right now.
He's like, yeah. I know how I look, guys. Just snap the damn picture. All right.
Okay.
So, Jim Holloway. Now, I couldn't find too much information on him, but I do know he died June 28th, 2020. Reasons of death remain unknown for the moment. I guess the family hasn't put that out into the ether yet.
Yeah. Don't dabble in necromancy, kids.
Now, I am a lover of role-playing games, particularly sitting around the table, sipping on some fizzy drinks, eating some snacks, and rolling those D20s with my friends.
Right.
It's a wonderful time, and there is nothing more important in role-playing games than the art, right? And we all know the grandfather of all role-playing games is the mighty Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes,
and
Gary
Jim
Gygax.
Holloway Jim Holloway was a contributor to Dungeons and Dragons for many, many years. So he's a well-known contributor. He did Dungeons and Dragons for TSR, Dragon Magazine, and BattleTech.
We have finally crossed the threshold to BattleTech.
The threshold. We'll talk about that in a second.
So excited.
So he was a self-taught artist.
Nice.
His father painted in oils, and he'd study his father's oil paintings to help him along. So, if you find that you're wanting to learn a new craft, you want to pick up painting, you want to pick up chalk, you want to pick up pastel, you can look at some other people's work to help you along. That's how all us self-starters get along.
Yeah, and so, you guys know we've talked about this before, but even the big guys, again, we talk about them a lot, but it's the first example that comes to mind. Brahm was totally self-taught, and he studied the things he wanted to make and practiced, and that's what he did. So, looking at this stuff is important, because if you want to develop your style, if that's something you want, looking at the things you want to create will help you to achieve that, because you'll see how they do lighting, you'll see how they draw shapes and how they do faces and hands. So look at that stuff.
The best way to do it is to just do it.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
I taught myself from copying, and my mother would be like, you shouldn't copy other people's artwork. Which, if you're going to go around and try to sell your artwork, don't do that. But by all means, do master copies. Get some paintings or some images you really like and try to draw it yourself. You learn so much from doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Neil Gaiman said that when you're trying to find your voice, at first it sounds like a lot of other people's.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, you chisel away all that extra stuff till you have your own diamond self. So, style. Jim Holloway, he worked in acrylics, but he's really known for his pen and ink images, which can be found in a ridiculous amount of D&D manuals, Battletech Traveler,
Did he do the books?
So many places.
Did he do the back sketches in the books?
He did the black and white sketches inside the books. He did the covers on the outside. He was up there with a lot of the other famed D&D guys. He just wasn't as good, and so he doesn't get the same respect.
Wasn't as good, or his style just wasn't as wet.
You know what? Good. If it's not as polished, it doesn't matter. Good is how it feels to that person.
It's in the eye of the beholder. No pun intended, of course. But you know, when you put his stuff alongside Brom and some of these other guys, his figure drawing isn't quite as good. His details aren't quite there, but he has his own style which set him apart, and which is why a lot of people have sort of endeared himself to them, and he had a humorous style, which a lot of
that's huge.
Other artists,
that's huge.
A lot of other artists, they were doing like, oh, this guy's fighting the Wolfman, and this guy is
hyper detail.
Attack. So his style was he would draw his characters as imperfect and grotesque. His characters were chubby.
Oh, this is great.
Warts.
These are
great. They had scars, pot bellies.
Yeah. Images that people playing D&D can relate to.
Exactly.
I'm not a chiseled warrior.
No, true story.
I'm going to squeeze into whatever tunic that I find.
But
that chainmail is going to be tight.
I'm going to be bursting
you go into a dungeon. You go into a dungeon. You pick some chainmail off the ground. It may not fit you, but you want to wear that protection.
That's
You're
right.
going to squeeze your 250
my left,
pounds
my
into
left Chi-Chi is going to be well protected.
That's right. So fantasy website Blackgate.com, which is a really cool website, writes that Holloway presents us with unforgettable images of bald painted dwarfs and axe-wielding knights. The inherent quality of most of his work lies in its humor. His characters love to look at the camera, giving the thumbs up, others winking with sly smiles.
Ooh.
And then he said this of himself: there is nothing better to get you to improve your work than to be constantly told by art directors and fellow artists how crummy you are.
You're never going to be a painter, Jim, so just give up.
Right off the bat. And something you should know about like early D&D, when he was in there and doing stuff, the early days, they picked anyone to do art for Dungeons and Dragons manuals. They were 18-year-old kids.
Yeah.
They were 19-year-old kids. They were kids in high school. TSR, which started D&D, was in this house. And so kids would just go to the house and check out games, and they would turn their pictures into Gary Gygax himself and say, hey, can you stick this in your next book? And he'd look at it and be like, oh, yeah, sure, why not? And so you look at a lot of those early manuals, and there is some janky-looking art in there. But
you know
if you
what
come
that
down,
does? That as a player or reader, you're like, and I think one of the artists even said this in Eye of the Beholder, is when you see that, you're like, oh, I could do that, or I could draw a dragon like that, or I could squeeze someone into some tunic.
Yeah, it's nice to see something that's attainable. When you're looking through an art book and it's just classic after classic,
and
you're like, I can't do this. My stuff doesn't look. He's shut down. But then you look at this kind of stuff, which is still great. And I'm looking at the picture of the woman holding up the mummy hand that's giving the thumbs up.
Yeah, it's
fantastic.
Cheeky, it's funny.
It's cheeky. It's funny, but it's also attainable.
Yeah,
like this is something you look at and you go, okay, I feel like I can get close to that.
Yeah,
but Brom, no, that's 15 years down the road. So you see kind of where Jim Holloway stood. Like he wasn't the top tier D&D artist, but he had his own thing.
But I would argue that because he had his own punk style, which is totally what I get from him.
Absolutely.
You would absolutely recognize him apart from some other artist whose art is so good. Because here's the thing: once you get to that wet top tier level, Yes, they're different, but you can kind of start mixing them up. Like, this is going to be hard to be like, this is not Jim Holloway. You're not going to say, oh, this is this guy. You're going to be like, no, this is Jim Holloway. Look how derpy this guy is.
Exactly.
Anybody can get drunk off of vodka or tequila, but you want that artistic burn when you consume those images.
That's right.
You want that. Yep. You want that musky smell coming out of your liquor that
That's right.
would discourage most people. But you just dive into it because this is your guy. This is the person you're rooting for, and you're right there with them. I mean, looking at this mummy lady, she is not the, fantastic bodied, fantasy woman. She's got some wrinkles, she's got some rolls, but she has flavor. She has character.
Hey, that mummy head is down.
Character.
He's eyeing her. This Cranston Snords Irregulars, I have looked at this cover so many times.
I actually own this book, and I'd never had any idea who did it. And so I'm so excited about this because I am a huge BattleTech nerd.
Yes.
And if you don't know, BattleTech is a sci-fi universe where humanity has moved out into the star systems, and now use these giant battle mechs.
They fight in giant robots.
Fighting giant robots for the future.
It is, in my opinion, the best sci-fi universe. It beats Star Trek. It beats Star Wars. It beats any of that stuff. BattleTech is the coolest universe out there. There's so much cool stuff. There are these clans of perfect warriors that are warring against each other. There's always political intrigue. We
will have an episode. We will have a full legacy. Legacy episode. So much.
But there's, I just want to go on and on about it. It's so cool. You can actually, he contributed a ton of work to BattleTech, including he did the very first BattleTech novel, of which there are over 200 novels.
No way!
He did the very first one. Yeah, he did the very first novel cover. And if you go to his Facebook, he's got a Facebook account, I think, run by his son.
If all else fails.
Yeah, you can go on there, and it's got like 300 or plus images of all of his work.
Look at this stuff.
So that's where all this came from.
Look at these black and whites.
Yeah, so these are the black and whites he became famous for.
Oh, they're fantastic.
Look at the chefs.
They're fantastic.
Get back down there. You're not supposed to be out before supper time.
So they tell such stories.
Out of you. Yeah.
So I just love the idea of first you've got this, folks, you got this kind of orc-looking guy or an ogre, and he's holding up a wooden shield, and this mage just lighting the shield on fire. And the guy's just freaking out. And the movement is fantastic. And then the next one is one of my favorites that I saw. It's this sort of peasant-looking guy with a sort of forked spear thing trying to poke a skeleton.
It's so silly.
It's so silly. He's got a hand on his hip, and he's holding up a finger, and he's like, no, wait a minute. And then behind him is like these chefs and cooks and stuff. It's just this bizarre image.
Yeah,
but it's got so much character and just so much fun.
I see you're trying to make a point.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then down at the very last ones here,
Dragon
I've got
Magazine.
some of his covers for Dragon Magazine, which was a role-playing magazine.
Oh, I love this dragon.
Some of his great,
dude. This is his.
Artwork.
See, now this is definitely edging wet. Yeah, this is wet.
Yeah, this is where you're hitting being up there with the pros.
It's almost all about patience. It's like if you have the patience to create something on this level. And some of us are more patient than others. A lot of times you just want to do a funny black and white, but he has the chops, folks. He's got the skills, and he's got his humor right there. You've got the little hobbit going, no, he's going to burn me bum. And then you've got the flying elf woman, and then the dragon is coming up out of this orange mist, and it's got weight. It's almost Smogian in its weight as it's lumbering through the clouds.
It does look heavy. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And he does a good job of giving his kind of, weird looking characters. He gives them a lot of animation. Yeah. I would say that's what he gets is because you know what? It's actually kind of cool.
The movement's fantastic.
When you think about it, like creatures and people should not look perfect. You know, And so a lot of fantasy artists, I almost feel, granted it's fantasy, but I feel it's a little bit of a failing that everything looks so flawless, because they should look, like the warrior should have a roll flopping out, the gnome should have like a weirdly disproportionate head or whatever. The dragon should be tubby. Like, all that is good. That's what you want.
You've got a little bit of a head start on this dragon. It may be powerful, but it's going to have to flap a few times before it can make it around that corner.
Right. Yeah, so there we go. Jim Holloway.
Great find.
I am taking my pistachio ice cream and I am pouring it out on the floor for you. It would be Bartles and James, but I don't drink anymore. So let's just go with pistachio ice cream.
Let's give a shout out to the lady Brengineer who helped you track this one down, because when Brengineer told me that there was a fallen D&D artist, I went searching for him. I looked through the dungeons.
There was a little bit of disbelief. I won't lie.
I just could not find this guy, and wasn't sure if I was going crazy or what, and here he is.
Yeah, I was kicking myself because I kept seeing all on these Dungeons and Dragons Instagrams that I follow. Oh, rip Jim Holloway. Oh, and I was thinking, I should write this down. And then, we decided to do this episode. I couldn't find it anywhere. And so the lady engineer, she's just spends 5 minutes on her phone, and she's like, is this the guy?
Nailed it. All right. Well, thank you, Brengineer. That was awesome. Definitely coming back to him, like we said.
Some delicious D&D morsels.
Some delicious D&D. And speaking of D&D morsels, and speaking of the little folk, and I am referring to, of course, the mythical people known as hobbits.
Hobbits.
Yes. We're going to talk about sweet Ian Holm, and say goodbye to our homie.
See ya, homie.
Yep, our homie has died.
Look at his face.
Oh, look at his face.
I know. Look at his sweet face. Look at his sweet face. Yep.
His eyes are slightly unaligned.
Take it in.
Slightly like he's losing it.
Yeah, he's about to drip drool all over your carpet.
That's right.
It's okay. I will wipe your chin for you.
And look at that leather. He's got like some sort of crazy old leather chair and a tapestry in the background.
This is great, folks. This isn't even a cover yet. Yes. So we were talking about Ian Holm. Ian Holm is a great actor, folks. We're going to go into some of his movies, but
Ian Holm was a great actor.
You know what? Just because he's dead doesn't mean he can't still be relevant to the acting community.
Figure out that necromancy out of that book that he found.
I'm bringing him back.
Sometimes dead is better.
I'm going to Pistachio Mansion to find some scrolls.
Sometimes dead is better.
Anyway,
you don't want to go over there.
Let me give you a little bit of a background story on Ian Holm. So, if his film career was to be summarized into a movie, first of all, it would be Attack of the Serial Killing Hobbits from Space. At least in this episode it would be, because he is quite the actor, quite the renowned, esteemed actor. He is Sir Ian Holm Cuthbert.
Ooh.
He's a knight.
So sorry, he is a serial killing night hobbit from space. Okay? So drink that in. What have you guys done with your lives? Anyway, he was born in England, September 12th, 1931.
Whoa.
Yeah, he was 88 when he died. He didn't quite make it to his 111th birthday, but he did pretty good. He did well.
Oh, well, he's in the Grey Havens now.
He's gone over on the ship.
What took him?
So he's got kind of an interesting backstory. His dad was a pioneer for electroshock therapy. His mom was a nurse. Wow. His brother, it turns out he had a brother that died when he was 12. Yowzers.
His brother? How did
what
his
happened
brother
to
die?
my brother?
Well, see, what happened was they were fishing, and his brother fell into the water. And at the bottom
Did he find the ring?
We got taped. I have to say, like, my heart jumped a little bit because I'm fishing all the time, and I'm like, I didn't know it could take a 12-year-old.
Yes. So Ian Holmes had a murderous streak, but yeah. So anyway, he's with Deagle. So how he got into acting, he met a Shakespearean actor who helped him audition for the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, which he secured in 1950. But he was enlisted in the army, and he served in Austria, and he actually attained the rank of Lance Corporal. Lance Corporal Cuthbert. Corporal Cuthbert. So good for him. And then after that, I guess he toured the Americas for a while, and then he went back and finished up his acting school, which is pretty cool. After that...
never too late, folks.
Never too late. Go back, finish that degree, even if you're touring in another country. Lance Corporal Cuthbert. So after that, he was on... he was quite an esteemed playman. I don't know what you call that.
Playboy?
Stage actor.
Yeah, so he did a lot of plays. He played in a lot of cheeky BBC shows, including a 1981 rendition of Lord of the Rings as Frodo.
He did.
What?
Yes.
Check that out.
Whoa, he was Proto-Frodo.
Yes, he was Proto-Frodo. I have a feeling that... what's his name probably watched that over in the New Zealands and saw him on there. I was like, I gotta have him over here for my movie that I'm doing.
He's a bit old for Frodo, but technology's getting better.
Yeah, we can CGI his face or something like that.
CGI his face.
Yeah, it'd be great. Yeah, so then after that he started acting in films. He was actually nominated for an Academy Award in Chariots of Fire. He played a guy in that movie that I don't remember.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, Vangelis, check it out. Great album. Chariots of Fire is not about gladiators. Sorry, everybody. It is about running. So take that as you will. And very sadly, he was treated for prostate cancer in 2001, and shortly after got Parkinson's disease, which is what he died of June 19th. This year. It could have been worse. He could have had parallel Parkinson's.
Oh my God.
I love you.
And this is what we do. We disrespect the dead.
Hey, Bartles and James. This is vintage Bartles and James. Okay. This is not cheap stuff. This is classy.
We are the sequel to I Spit on Your Grave. We urinate on your grave.
So, as I was saying, his film career didn't really take off, however, until he did a special film. A very special treasure from 1979 known as Alien.
One of the greatest films ever made.
Yes.
You know what stops it from being a perfect film?
No. Tell me.
So
I'm very curious. I want to know.
It's the fact that Ian Holmes' face is so perfect. It's impossible to make.
Look at his beautiful face.
Look at
how beautiful he is.
He's even
handsome
got sweet
face.
earlobes.
He
Sweet
does.
little earlobes. Just want to nibble on.
You want to? You just want to tuck them in your pockets.
It's impossible to make a good replica of that perfect head. So when his head gets knocked off, he's an android and they have to reactivate the head, and it's some of the worst special effects ever.
That's true. You can even see like the choppy cut where like they're refixing it. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah. And it could have been a 100% perfect film if they had just done that.
But you want to know what is 100% perfect? Is the cover for this film, which if you scroll down, this is what I remember from the VHS store. This is the cover of Alien.
This is so misleading.
I love this cover. It is so cool. It's got Alien, of course, that amazing spacious logo. You've got the
iconic font.
Yes, you've got this chicken egg which is very important.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It's very important.
That egg sucks.
So
listen,
that egg sucks.
sometimes covers are like the wrapping on the Christmas on the birthday present. You know, sometimes you see exactly what the present's going to be before you even open it, and sometimes the wrapping paper has chicken eggs all over it, and you unwrap it to see a chest burster come right out at you, and you go, wow, not what I was expecting, but completely
Here's the
delighted.
thing.
No, this is one of those things where they made like the poster. I forget the story. They made the poster before the movie was made or whatever.
Okay,
yeah.
tapes time. Here we go. So let's finish up with the poster. It's got the beautiful net with the glowing green, and as you guys know from episode 2, because you listened to that one, I think it was 2, maybe 3, Pappy's Vidges. Green and blues are very indicative of sci-fi, creepy spookiness going on. So you've got green, spooky egg, cool net, minimalist darkness. It's a really cool, effective poster. I love it.
It's effective.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now here is why. So here's the thing. I actually found who designed this poster. His name was absolutely. I did. His name was Philip Gips. And he was an American graphic design and poster artist.
The Gip.
He was a native of the Bronx. He graduated from Cooper Union, which is a thing, as well as the Yale School of Art and Architecture. And his most notable works were for the film poster of Ridley Scott's Alien, Rosemary's Baby, which is great.
Oh.
Great cover.
And some other ones.
Great poster.
What he does do digital composites, although it's not as you guys would think, because we know now digital would be digital art. He actually used photos. So I don't know. I know basically how he did this one because they talked about how he did Rosemary's Baby. It was several pictures layered, then covered over with basically green. So it was very much about, lining up the elements, coming up with a thought in his head, and then putting it on the poster. And why he was so good at it is because he had a good vision in his head, and he executed that well for the film. So this is very good for the film because it has that kind of mysterious, creepy kind of horror aspect. And as Brengineer was talking about, there is absolutely a story behind the egg. I had to do a little bit of digging, but I was able to find it. It is indeed a chicken egg. Now, what happened is when they were doing the preliminary shots, Geiger did not have the original egg ready. They weren't ready for filming yet. So what they did is they got a bunch of chicken eggs and they kind of doctored them up with weird blisters and whatnot. And they flew over it with a camera and they shot that. Now, fun fact, in the original teaser trailer for Alien, they used the chicken eggs. Yeah, they used the eggs. They didn't use the actual original eggs. And so then they took those eggs and that's what they used to shoot this for the poster, which I thought was a really cool tie-in,
Yeah.
Because you have to have the stuff ready, and I think back then you kind of had to have your ducks in a row. You couldn't just mash out a poster in the last month.
Things were moving.
Yeah, you had to have the hype ready. Another really cool thing. Get ready for this. Philip Gips' wife is actually the one who created the tagline "In space, no one can hear you scream."
Oh, she did.
Really?
Good on you.
Which is a great.
Yep, that was his wife.
Tagline.
Yeah, so just a really cool story. This is cover art and artists are sometimes responsible for some of the most important aspects of films, and that tagline is it goes hand in hand with Alien. It has been used so many times.
You may be an artist who uses paint or more traditional mediums, but sometimes your art is splicing together photos. Sometimes your art is, punching stuff into leather. Sometimes your art is building creatures and creature workshops out of latex. Art manifests in so many different ways, and we're here.
It's all beautiful.
We're here to absorb it.
Yeah, and like we've talked about, the cool thing about composite pictures back in the day, like I said, is you had to use photos and paintings and images, and you had to puzzle them together and be thoughtful about it. And that's what I think we're lacking from modern day posters. Is you can just create kind of whatever you don't have to really think about it. You can just kind of splotch it all on there with digital tools.
Looking at this poster, like if you were to do this today in digital, this is like 15 minutes of work. This is like 3 layers.
Right.
Well, I mean, like, and that's the thing too is we're not necessarily against digital art. We find that a lot of it tends to be lazy and that they take screenshots from the movies, and probably that results in the artists working on the stuff not getting enough time or getting paid well enough. But you can be creative with digital art, but you got to come up with something unique. You have to come up with something that people haven't seen before, or you have to come up with a style, and you can create that with any tool. But yeah, when we say we're against digital art, we're against lazy digital art.
Yes, absolutely. So
I did some digital art the other day,
and it was great.
By the way,
it was fantastic. Scrolling on, we have I forget. Here's Ian Holmes as the priest from Fifth Element, the tittering Fifth Element. Cornelius, that's what it is. Thank you, Cornelius. Great film, and his role in this, again, he's so diverse because in Alien he's so sinister and cold and calculating, and then in Fifth Element he's this amazing bubbly, caring, jittery priest. He's such a good actor, and he's really able to play these characters. He's a great character actor.
It's fun because a lot of times your wizard has this like overarching, encompassing presence that's kind of intimidating, but this wizard is he's like your auntie that's just gonna go on this journey with you and hold your hand.
Absolutely. And as we go, if you scroll down, you'll see the theatrical poster release for the film Fifth Element.
Oof.
Yeah. So here's the thing. This is actually this is the theatrical one, but the one I actually prefer is the VHS cover. It's got the flying taxis in front. With the buildings on the. That one is great. That's a great cover. The theatrical poster, it's a little.
It's starting to grab that real quick.
It's a little digital. This is starting to get into the bad era of digital art. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah, this is lazy.
Yeah,
I think this is real lazy.
There's too much and not enough going on at the same time.
Yeah, it's got a Drew Struzan kind of composition. It's got that composition that you see a lot with the old masters, but
the floating heads.
It doesn't have the texture.
Yeah,
the texture's not there.
Interesting thing here. I did a little.
It's got that 1995 spaceship simulator. Was it Descent?
Yeah.
right, exactly.
So I had to do a little detective rigatoni here, trying to find out. And so once again, guys, I spent a lot of time, but I went into IMDb.
What'd you find, Mac?
I went into IMDb, the dirty lane, the IMDb lane.
Yeah, you went right down into the filth.
Yeah, I paid Johnny Zuko some smack to get the info on a couple artists.
Around?
So I found 3 graphic designers for this in the art department section. You have to go to the art department.
3.
Not to be confused with the visual art and the I forget what the physical side of it is called. But there's the special effects and then the physical effects, and the art department is the one that handles everything in between. So I have Judith Bell, Mark Bowie, and Karina Farrow. All possibly worked on this cover, or maybe none of them. The problem is it doesn't exactly say did the poster. But what's cool, if you go on there, when you click on their name, what you can get is a drop down of everything they worked on and kind of what they did. So, for instance, with Judith Bell...
Bill K. Myers situation.
Yeah, with Judith Bell, I found she did a lot of art and digital paint. Mark Bowery did titles, and Karina Farrow, I found... She was, I thought, the most promising, but what I ended up finding is what she actually did was design logos for the props in the film. Oh. So she actually designed, she designed the things that were like put on the taxis and put on the breakfast cereals and stuff, which I thought was really cool.
Art is everywhere. Covers are everywhere, folks.
Yeah, and so what's kind of cool, folks, if you want to dig deep, so I found all these on these people, but it turns out if you click on them, you can find their LinkedIns. Lots of these people have LinkedIns, and their LinkedIns will have a drop down of all the stuff, a lot of the stuff they've done. So I'm I'm kind of edging towards Judith Bell being the one responsible for this because she was the digital painter. But yeah, so kind of an interesting thing. If you're looking for someone, go to the art department, find the graphic designers, and you just might be able to find them that way.
Excellent detective work there, Tapes.
Thank you. And as a bonus, using that system, I actually did find the designer for the next cover we're going to go into. So, talking about our serial killing hobbits here.
God.
Yes.
The sweetness just got dark.
Yes, it did indeed.
Yes.
We've entered the pistachio realm. So, folks, this is another episode, not from the movie, but from a gentleman who Brengineer is very familiar with. But the movie is called From Hell. And I actually was a big fan of this movie. It's got a very dark, gritty, it's that, I think, like 18th century industrial London era, and it's about Jack the Ripper. And Ian Holmes plays a doctor, basically, and, you know, the story of Jack the Ripper killing prostitutes. But basically, spoiler alert, sorry, Ian Holmes is the serial killer in the film. And for whatever reason, he gets Satan eyes and I don't know, they put him in an insane asylum in the end. But the cover is very effective for this.
So good.
Yes,
folks.
and
yeah, it's pretty good.
So here's the thing.
This is an example of a great minimalist cover.
Here's my problem. I have a hard time saying anything nice about this movie or anything involved.
Yeah,
because
the Brengineer has prejudice for this.
Compared to the graphic novel. Now, the graphic novel, this is based off of the graphic novel by Alan Moore.
You're never going to be the graphic novel from hell, so just give up.
Which is a absolute piece of art. It's a masterpiece. It's one of the. It's a graphic novel. It's still, I consider it a novel. It's one of the great novels.
What's that saying? We watch the movie, we enjoy what we see.
It's hard when there's so much in a book, and then you sit down and you watch the movie, and they can't even do any of it, but just the barest of bones. That is
like a 500-page graphic novel by Alan Moore. They're not going to put time-traveling serial killer in there. They can't put everything in there.
So get this. At the end, the physician, the Queen's physician is Jack the Ripper, and he's going around killing these prostitutes because they know that the royal family, one of the princes, has a bastard child. And the prostitutes know this. And so
just pay them off.
This occultist...
Yeah, they love money.
This occultist physician goes around and he's supposed to kill these women quietly, but he's into the occult, and so he wants to kill them in these certain ways. Exactly. So he and in the book, as he's going through these murders, he's explaining to his cohort why he's doing it, and he's pointing out. He's taking his cohort on these tours of London and showing, this building was designed in such a way because it goes in, it fulfills this occult sort of ideology. Super interesting. And at the end, the reason
time travel,
Satan black eyes, his ghost. He dies in an insane asylum, and his ghost goes back in time, and William Blake, the painter, sees the ghost and does a painting of the ghost that he sees.
Like I said,
and this
would have been a BBC miniseries if they could have had it done. But Netflix. Alan Moore took the cheap paycheck instead. So Netflix. That's what you go.
We're gonna Brengineer out,
folks. We're gonna do Alan Moore on another episode because he is a wacky dude.
Is that him at the end?
Alan Moore. Now hold on here. From Hell.
Is that all that's left?
So From Hell was done by Francis Bennett, and I found him in the same way, and he did in fact have a link to this From Hell poster, so I knew that he was the one that was partially responsible for it. And he's actually a professor of CGI, which Brendan would love. I know that would really tickle Brengineer the right way. But the thing that's interesting about this poster, so the image you see with Johnny Depp and Heather, whatever her name is.
Get that out
Heather
of here.
Graham, who looks absolutely luscious in this picture.
She's luscious. She's great. She's a fantastic. She's a Valkyrie. This one is okay. The problem is you have their faces covering up the most important part, which is the red gash, the bloody red gash.
Yeah.
So the original theatrical poster, folks, we'll have a link to this that you can see, is just black with this red gash with the image of the Ripper walking straight down the center with "From Hell" at the bottom. It is such a cool, cool poster.
It is effective.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I wish they had not thrown Johnny Depp's pirate face on there. I wish they had kept it with the original. But, that's the thing about Hollywood and putting a movie on VHS or whatever you watch now, your kids watch. You have to have your actor on the cover. If your stupid actor isn't on the cover going, ugh, with his spooky fingers, no one wants to buy it. Take Johnny Depp off there. No one wants him.
A logo, this follows the same. This has got the same formula. It gives you exactly what you need very quickly. Boom, red, blood, danger, lamplight, streets, figure, done.
Yeah,
it's interesting. It shows you everything. Even if I didn't know what this was about, I would know it's about Jack the Ripper.
Absolutely, yeah. It's that just bright red gash, and they did such a good job of capturing the style of that clothing just in a silhouette. And that's like such a...
Here's what I don't like.
Yeah, go for it. I want to hear.
If you're doing font, if you're doing lettering, please don't make one part of the lettering, non-bold, and then do the next set bold. So it's from normal font. Oh, and it's all like bolded out. Yeah, it's so cheesy.
Well, it works.
It's so cheesy.
It worked okay in this
because it's stacked, but when it's on the same plane, it doesn't work.
No. In any case, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was good. I hadn't read From Hell before, so maybe that's what spoilt me for it. But
watch the movie first.
Watch the film, and then read the wacky graphic novel. It's a beast, just so you know.
Yeah, get in there.
But yeah, great material. And Ian Holmes' performance, again, he is awesome. And he doesn't start off as a villain. You don't know that in the beginning. So again, he's this very kind, helpful guy, and then he turns into this vicious killer. As we are going to find out in the transformation of Ian Holm here.
Is that what you did here? Is that what you're trying to portray here?
I just wanted to show the progression of life.
Listen,
you play with your ring too much.
I get it. When you play with your ring too much, you end up with Parkinson's. I get it. And you have a Band-Aid. He's got a Band-Aid on his face. The poor guy.
After doing this show for however long,
he was ready to go to the Grey Haven.
We need to make sure to take pictures of us as we age, so that when we pass on, we too can be put on the wall.
Here's the thing. I don't feel bad because
I
feel like the greatest honor you can have in life is to one day, like 88 years later, have a bunch of young kids talking shit about you. That's how you know you've made it.
Lovingly.
That's true success.
Carrying on a tradition.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So the final slide here, honestly, the list of people involved in these fucking films is so large, I got just like... my eyes swam looking for anyone who is responsible for this cover. But we'll talk about the Lord of the Rings covers anyway. But there's the Fellowship. It's a beautiful cover. All the Lord of the Rings covers are fantastic.
It's a digital cover, and it's done well.
Yeah,
it's
done well. I still don't like this as a poster.
I get that.
I get so sick of this kind of thing. It's such a trademark of 2000s. Covers and even through until now, it's just so obvious.
This was the big thing, though. This was the big thing. This was like this is when post. So, by the way, I should say,
I know it's your ensemble collage.
From Hell and Lord of the Rings both came out in 2001. So
really?
You can really tell you're starting to get that the digital art composition there. Yeah. But yeah. I think that this was the next big thing. It was making the movie as big as you could on the poster.
Yeah.
And like if you look at Alien with its minimalism and then you flash forward to 2001, like and they're still copying this. Look at Avengers. The Avengers posters are the Lord of the Rings poster right here.
Yeah.
It's got
How cool would it have just been to have just like the Door of Moria, as your poster.
I think that happened.
And that's it.
I think that was probably on one of them.
Was it?
On one of the posters,
that would be amazing.
Yeah.
I love the idea of having a poster that seems small And it's like, oh, this is just gonna be a thing. And then it's like you go through those doors, and with the idea of here's this little movie, and it's giant inside.
Right.
Everything
portal.
is just like, yeah, the little portal. Everything is just bam in your face.
Right.
Here is all the stuff.
But here's the problem, Brengineer. You're forgetting that this was also a film poster, and when you're trying to convey a movie that's going to be, the summer blockbuster, you're not going to put a door. People have been waiting. People have been waiting 80 years to get their fat Lord of the Rings decoder on. They want to see all the actors. They want to see ring wraiths. They want to see a dragon.
A lot of
it could just be a ring.
Into
they
the
could
movie,
just
was
done a
put
ring.
into the movie. There were some great practical effects. They were proud of what they did. And
show it off.
They wanted to show it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Anyway, regardless, I still think it's a well done poster. It's
definitely it is.
Yeah, it's not the it doesn't give you. You're right. It doesn't give you a sense of of mystery.
It's tasty. It's not nutritional.
Yeah,
and I will just say, one of the things that always gets me going is when you're watching the movie, and I was sitting in the theaters. I remember this very, very specifically, and that logo pops up.
Oh yeah.
For that first time, and it's that beautiful, crumbly, painted-looking logo, and it pops up on the screen.
I feel it in the water.
In the water. Oh man,
chills.
And you're just like, even now, chills.
Yep, absolutely. Every November, folks. That's my marathon.
Some of the greatest films of all time, right there.
Folks,
well, Ian Holm, we take off our rings. We take off our invisibility, and we show people the flappy skin thing that we have become. So we pour out some dead fish from our bag to flop on the floor for you.
And we hope that you're enjoying your next adventure.
Yes, absolutely. Rest in peace, Ian Holm. All right, I believe now we have one more, which I believe Inks is very excited to take us down.
So I did a little double duty today. I had to get Charlie Daniels in there. He was a recent one, but this one has been on our radar for a minute.
Oh, no.
And if
these movies are not good, I will just say right now, he is not a good director.
Well, let me just say, if there is so many covers that we could talk about with this director. But if this is a show about covers, it's also a show for us about nostalgia and things that stick out to us. And the truth is we can't do everything on this show. We can't talk. We could sit here and we could talk about St. Elmo's Fire. We could talk about Flatliners. We could talk about The Client. We could talk about even the phone booth. But we are going to talk about... I forgot he did that one. Yeah, we're going to talk about Joel Schumacher, and we're going to rip right into Batman Forever.
No one is filling those shoes. No one.
Batman Forever is awesome. Here's what I want to say.
Let me say something.
He didn't make a lot of great movies, but
Joel Schumacher.
Yeah, he had an eye for visual dynamics. Yeah, his films, Flatliners in particular, is, I don't super love it. It's sort of a cheesy morality pseudo horror film, but man, that movie looks amazing. And all of his films, they all have this amazing sort of neon, and I don't even.
Let's just say he definitely captures that with this cover.
If our Schumacher Sunday, it's going to be sherbets. It's going to be cotton candy ice creams. It's going to have
horrible
all
red
the
cherries.
It's every 80s sequel you love. It's Gremlins 2. It's Friday the 13th 5. It's all the ridiculous movies.
Yes.
He's just a kid. So he just seems like a kid, and his movies just reflect that.
Yeah.
Well, so I've got pulled up here. I could have gone to the posters, but I went straight to the VHSs. And
you got to. You have to.
Because if you want to get all the flavor, you go to the VHSs. And we were talking about minimalist covers. We were talking about that portal. We were talking about just having the Doors of Moria. And Batman Forever kind of did that. I remember when it was first coming out, these posters, if you look all the way to the right, you saw the question mark.
Okay, yeah, you got the bat clue.
With the bat symbol.
That's
so you
right.
have the Batman
That
logo
is a
encompassed
great
by the Riddler's question mark. And for a long time, that's all you saw.
So good.
That was the teaser.
So good.
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually not a fan of that cover. It looks so
Really? It's
cartoony.
so good.
That's my
It's supposed
that's
to.
my
It's
problem. It's so
Batman.
cartoony. It looks so like
It's Batman.
Well,
yeah.
And here's what's brilliant about it. So your two villains in Batman Forever are the Riddler and Two-Face, right?
Two-Face.
And of course, everything is encompassed here. You've got Batman in the middle. Encompassing it is the Riddler's question mark. And then you have
the coin
these symbols double lit by a purple and a green.
Yeah.
So you've got two colors here. It's all there.
And then when you get to Batman and Robin, they did the same thing where they had the Batman symbol fly into the screen and then the Robin symbol overlay on the Batman. It was a dynamic kind of stacking of the logos.
So the re-release, I'm assuming, this is such a cheesy, stupid cover. Look at Robin doing that. Hi-ya!
This is digital. This is a composite of screenshots here. And you've got
this is
Kilmer.
Bobby Coffin. This is his classic staircase shot
Kilmer with
where
his
he would have
forearm
people
blades.
stand on a staircase and take them lining up. Yeah, this is
Describe it. Give the people some flavor.
Okay, what we have is Jim Carrey going, I don't know,
Riddle me
with his
this.
hands out,
Yeah.
riddle me this,
Riddle me
with
that.
his bright orange hair. Right behind him, you have
so
Tommy Lee Jones going,
Pretending he wasn't the one who farted in the elevator.
I will say, this is the most lively. You need to watch this movie if you haven't, just to see
not
Tommy
be a
Lee
piece
Jones
of
act
furniture.
like he has a pulse for once, and not just be a mannequin with skin stretched over it.
And then behind you have, is that Nicole Kidman?
It's Nicole Kidman,
Wow.
dude.
Yeah.
Nicole.
Yeah.
This is
Nicole.
before you got super pinchy.
Look at those locks.
Yeah, Lucius. She hadn't gone to Australia yet. And then behind you've got Chris O'Donnell. Oh,
Yeah,
who remembers you?
Chris O'Donnell?
Who remembers you, Chris O'Donnell?
Man,
You're
he's
nobody.
He's doing the
He's
riding
flying
the
on a
Luck
Dream Dragon.
punch.
Yeah, Luck Dragon. Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Well,
Yeah.
I've got a little bit. I've got some notes for Batman Forever. This is cover to
Can't
cover.
forget the Kilmer.
But
the Kilmer's in the back.
yeah, Bat Kilmer.
You forgot the Kilmer.
You know why we forgot? Because we can't see his nipples.
Oh,
Well, yeah.
This
We
is
get
the
to see his
classic
nipples in the movie.
nipple suit.
well,
This kind of
originally-
cover is everything you wanted as a kid because it gives you everything.
Yes,
It shows you all the stuff.
This is Lucky Charms
it's
as
all
a
the
cover.
action.
This
Yeah.
is
Oh,
Lucky
definitely.
Charms serial cover. It was Burton who chose Joel to take over the Batman mantle. The movie was meant to be darker. If you look up some of the deleted scenes, which I did today, just for fun, it's fantastic. You get to see a man-sized bat confront Val Kilmer.
Yep.
But there's a lot of things that went on with this movie. Originally, Mike Keaton was supposed to come back, but then he wanted to move on to some other roles, so they got Val Kilmer in there. There was a bunch of different people that was possibly going to be the Riddler. Michael Jackson lobbied hard to get in as the Riddler. Unfortunately, he got blocked.
Unfortunately, I think it's very fortunate. No one needs to see that.
I'm gonna riddle me this, and I'm gonna riddle me that.
You know there would have been a song number. They would have put a song number in there.
Yes. Billy D. Williams, Lando Calrissian was originally Harvey Dent in the first Batman movie, and they thought about bringing him in to be Two-Face, but then Tommy Lee got the job because he was a
that
little
would
bit
have
more
been
mobstery.
so
But
good.
Two-Face Billy D, that was a
That
missed
would have been
opportunity.
So good.
Yeah, I think so. That would have been great.
Oh, that would have been
Colt
so good.
45.
This movie did pretty good. This movie did pretty good, despite some mixed reviews. But a lot of the younger audience enjoyed the lighter tone of the movie, but there is a Schumacher cut, and there is deleted scenes if you want some more of that dark Batman flavor.
Here's the thing, Inks. I still believe there's another cover that you have.
Yeah, we are moving on. Because
my mind is kind of blown. What is this cover you have found?
Okay, so
I've never seen this cover of Lost Boys.
Yeah, it exists. Joel Schumacher directed Lost Boys,
which I did not know.
Best movie.
Yeah, and if you say to yourself, "Hey, this is cover decoder. Why are you guys talking about a director?" But sometimes the director can influence the cover, and this is what happened. Originally, Lost Boys was supposed to be a movie about 13 or 14-year-old vampires. And the Frog Brothers were going to be chubby little 8-year-old Boy Scouts. But Joel got the job to direct it after it was turned down by Richard Donner, who directed The Goonies. He was originally supposed to do The Lost Boys. He was out. Joel was in, and Joel said, let's make it sexier. Let's have sexy vampires in their prime with the teenage needs and a saxophone, oily saxophone player. And so they reworked the script. They made the vampires older, and they made it more young adult, more teenage. And you can see that now influence the cover, influencing vampires and vampire portrayals.
Where do you think Twilight came from?
Without this film, there would be no Twilight.
Yes, absolutely.
So thank you.
Which is kind of a double-edged sword there.
Thank you for that.
You know, as much as I love Lost Boys. Well, anyways.
But this, I have never seen this cover of Lost Boys.
Yeah,
normally, it's a horrible composite with the actors on the front. It's not. I mean, I love the movie, and actually, the biggest draw of that is the title. The Lost Boys lettering is so cool. Yeah. But this is fantastic.
Tell us about it. This is a VHS.
We have right up in front. We have the vampire version of Kiefer Sutherland going. He's going Michael, and behind him is I think of the planet Earth or the moon. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be behind him. Is that the moon?
The moon, yeah.
Oh, anyway,
but it looks like there's a continent on it.
Yeah,
it looks like there's some greenery on it. It's kind of weird.
This kind of looks like space vampires, to be honest. And then for some reason, everyone is they're hanging off of the bridge. Yeah. Okay, so upside down, they're hanging off the bridge, getting ready to.
It's a pretty janky. It's nicely painted, dude. It's a pretty janky composition.
It's a janky composition, but if you click to the next slide, I will show you what the original looked like, or the original sketch.
Oh, that's way cooler.
Yeah, see, that's way cooler.
Yeah, the original sketch has Kiefer Sutherland hissing over his posse, who is below him instead of above him. And it's a stronger composition. This is the original sketch, and I've got the original painting right here. This original sketch and painting was done by none other than our boy.
No way!
Renato Casario.
No way! We were just talking about Pappy's Bitches.
Right. Renato
we
Casario.
made a connection.
Renato Casario.
Yeah, he
showed
look at that
up
Army of
in
Darkness. Episode 3 for us when Tapes brought us Army of Darkness, and he showed us several different Army of Darkness posters, but one of them was done by Renato Casario.
Oh, yes.
So good.
This is the one.
A continent.
Yeah, tell us about this one.
I mean, folks, like we talked about in episode 3, this is just such an amazing piece here. So the original Army of Darkness is great, but you have Ash with his extremely realistic Bruce Campbell body muscled out,
oily Conan muscles.
Oh yeah, he has boomstick and muscles. Chainsaw raised to the sky. There's like a shower of red coming off of his arms, but between his arms you have the sinister Ash face. And then down below him, you have the logo with the army of skeletal horsemen charging forward, and it is a beautiful piece.
Which is a terrible terrible photo composite.
Oh, that is not a photo, my friend. That's
photo.
He painted that.
That is a beautiful painting of horsemen. Don't you talk shit about those horses.
I'm zooming in.
If you go to his website and you look at his stuff, we thought that was a photo put into the bottom of his painting. It is not. He painted that.
Dude, I'm pretty sure.
Photorealism. Renato Casaro. He does not use a photograph.
He gets in with his oils. He gets his single bristle brush.
Maybe.
And he goes, if you zoom into that thing, you will
Every
see
horse
the brush
penis
marks.
is on that horse.
Okay, well, when Mr. Casaro decides to call me personally and tell me,
down.
We're hardfoot. He's throwing the throttle on the bike.
You can see it in his composition. So I've got the sketch here, folks, and I'm going to link to all this.
I see it, yeah.
Renato Casaro has a fantastic website, but it is so full of fantastic masterpieces that he actually has to have a search bar. So you need to go in knowing which film you're looking for.
Which is hilarious, because when I first went to his website, I think I even said in that episode, I'm like, man, but the one thing about Renato Casaro is his website really sucks.
No,
and it's actually a fantastic website.
It's its own masterpiece. And I'm glad we could circle back around to him, because we are going to see him again. And I would even say to you, gents, that we need to have an entire episode.
It's a legacy for sure.
A Casaro off, a Renato-thon, and because I had to stop myself from flipping through everything. There's even more sketches of his Army of Darkness compositions, which they're not as good as this one. That's why I chose to show this one that ended up in the final poster with the actual horsemen that are painted on the bottom. I don't remember the VHS one that we saw, but it may have had the photo in there. But I'm telling you right now, sir, if you go to the website, you will see
it is there.
Brush strokes.
I was just gonna say, I can see where it is. Definitely, this is painted.
You see the dots on the glow.
Yeah.
And you know, I read an article. So again, we're gonna have a Renato-thon, but I just got to bring this up because we were talking about it, and I read an article on him today, and he was saying that
how it loops back.
When he decided to retire, he was seeing everyone with the computers, and he saw the computer graphics and the way things were going, and he thought, okay, I don't want to be a part of this. He said, you know, I thought about taking up digital art and trying it out, but then I just decided that wasn't a world that I wanted to be a part of, and
that's
amazing. It wasn't for me, and so I decided it was time to retire, 1999, and you can see that those computer graphics artists were trying to get close to his compositions, and if you could do this composition with photos, but you don't get the glow. You don't get
and look,
the
here's the cool thing. Here's the cool thing, folks. When you start to look at these pieces, you can make the connection, because now that I'm looking, you can tell that this Lost Boys one is a Renato. It's different. It's different. Different colors, blues and whites. But there's something about the way he lights his pieces. It's very soft.
It's definitely in the lighting.
Yeah, I want to say it's soft, and it's because the reds aren't super harsh. It's really cool.
He's really diverse. You see the soft, creamy paintings that he does, but if you look at some of his old westerns, there's some brush marks. There's some fat layers of just color on the cheeks. But if you're sad that if you picked up the Lost Boys DVD, the last slide here, the Lost Boys Blu-ray, and you saw the photo composite on the cover, don't be too sad, because if you open it up, the disc has hissing Keith Sutherland with
this is horrible. But it looks horrible. This looks like something on like top 20 alien stories of 2018, and it's got space vampires. They've totally butchered it. Look, they altered the colors. He looks like he's wearing lipstick.
He does.
What's going on here?
He looks like he got into Meemaw's makeup cabinet.
Look how gross his mustache is. This is a horrible Blu-ray.
I was trying to end on a redeeming moment of saying that like his art is still there, but I totally missed the mark.
No,
you know what the redeeming moment is? Tim Capello's luscious, oily body.
Yes,
that
it still exists, folks. You can
gyrating
go see that
hips.
luscious body.
His saxophone, the chains. Honestly, this entire film was created for 10 seconds of film.
There are some people who tell a tale, and the tale is that the only reason Lost Boys is as popular as it is because of Tim Capello.
The Capello.
Which may or may not be true, but it's also not true.
We don't have
it's
time.
A great movie.
We don't have time for that. We don't have time for the story, but...
Yeah, we're coming back to do Blood on the Reed, because, folks, that's a taffy swirl right there.
That is. Tim Capello is its own world, but be sure to watch The Lost Boys.
Yes.
It's well worth your time.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And, folks, that's Joel Schumacher for you. He brought in some talented people.
Joel.
He made some movies. They were okay.
He put on a show. He added color. He added pop. He added.
You know what? He added to pop culture.
Yeah, okay? That's true.
He made vampires what they are, whether you love it or you hate it. Yeah. He put a couple chapters, one better than the other, into the Batman saga.
He put butt muscles on the bat suit.
He put butt muscles on the bat suit, nipples on the bat suit.
And Joel had said that it was said that he had chose those things because of his sexuality, but he said that he was trying to portray like Roman and Greek statues. You know, those perfect
like
god body Adonian statues where every nipple, every pube is sculpted in its curly glory. And that's what he was going for.
If Tapes had his way, he would have gone the full 9 yards and given the bat suit a bat dong.
Bat dong.
The bat codpiece. Well, we're gonna pour out a shot glass of Tim Capello's back sweat.
Yep.
Yes.
For Joel Schumacher here, you will be missed.
Yes.
You'll all be missed.
Yes.
Ian Holmes.
And everyone here at Cover Decoder headquarters would like to thank you for joining us in this ice cream buffet of flavors to the fallen masters and artists and people that led us to other artists tonight. We want you to go look at our website, coverdecoder.com. If you have any questions or comments or covers for us, you can send them to coverdecoder@gmail.com. And check us out on Instagram. We do a lot on Instagram. There's a lot of flavor out there. I do little teasers to the episodes if you want to see what's coming up. And please like us, review us, follow us on whatever platform you're listening on to.
Send us those covers. You could win a shirt.
Absolutely. Yes. Remember, folks, so we are going to be taking a break in September, but we will have our season finale in September, and that episode is all your covers. Yes. So absolutely send us a cover. Someone will be selected out of the 3 that we choose, and you will win a shirt for free.
We are the judges.
And write up a little something about your pick there.
Sell it to us.
And we'll read it on here too. Sell it to us. We want to know your thoughts about why you're submitting it and what you think about it.
Absolutely.
That's right. We want to see those portals to other worlds. We want you to take us on a journey. So we're closing out here tonight, and we just want you to remember, covers are important, the journey is important, and keep finding those covers and taking us to new worlds. Cover.
Yeah!